Brooklyn Nets. This team is going to be so fun to watch headed into the postseason. But before they get to the postseason, they have some things that they have to work out. The trio of James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant is fun. Nobody's going to tell you that this is not a good basketball product. But as it stands right now, their product can be improved. 3 players that can be franchise players for most teams in the NBA, if not all of them. I already feel like that statement is going to make a lot of people mad. Don't take my hyperbole as a fact. Let me start over. These guys are nasty, but they can't do it by themselves. At the end of the day, people forget time and time again that basketball is a team game. As good as some of the greatest players to play the game have been, no matter their statistical output, they still needed help. And this Brooklyn Nets team is no different. A lot of people look at the Nets roster and feel like it lacks depth. To an extent, I agree, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel like there was some talent on that bench. As much as I love Nicholas Claxton, as competent as Deandre Jordan has been, this is a Nets team that needs help and depth at the big man position. If I told you the Nets were monitoring buyouts and the trade market, you would probably believe me, but some of their targets might just shock you, because they for sure shocked me. Before we go any further, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another Get Like Coop video. And that's facts. If you guys enjoy my content, you'll probably enjoy my streams. The link to my stream is going to be in the description below. In that same description, you'll find the link to my football channel. You will not want to miss a Red Zone Coop upload. Also follow me on Twitter, handle GLikeCoop. Tweet Like Coop is coming back very soon. Right now, I want to know where you guys have the Brooklyn Nets finishing in the Eastern Conference. I want to know what place you have them. And as a matter of fact, I want to know your top 3 teams in order for the Eastern Conference. Now we have to talk Brooklyn Nets basketball. In the Brooklyn Nets' first few games, after acquiring James Harden, one thing was painfully obvious, and that was that this may be a team that ends up struggling on the defensive side of the basketball. You look at their starting 5, and there's not a ton of great defenders in that lineup. I know what you guys are thinking. You're going to see Deandre Jordan, and you're going to see a name. Well, Deandre Jordan isn't near the same player he used to be, which is fair. The bar he set was incredibly high. It felt like Deandre Jordan was a one-man defensive anchor. Well, it's safe to say that Deandre Jordan is not the Deandre Jordan that the Brooklyn Nets have. And that's okay. I mean, no, really, it's fine. Definitely not a big deal at all. I'm lying. It can be an incredibly big deal, because come playoff time, you're going to need a player that can guard the other team's best big. A lot of teams don't have great, talented, versatile big men, but there are teams that are very good that do. And it just so happens that some of those teams are in the Eastern Conference. You need a guy that's going to be able to slow down Joel Embiid. I'm not going to say guard or lock down, because it feels like Embiid is getting whatever he wants this season. You just want to make life tough for him. Can anybody say MVP as the 76ers are currently the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference? Let me relax. Seriously, the East has very quality bigs. You have Giannis, you have Nikola, you have Sabonis, who's a flat out stud, so crafty and good with the basketball in their hands. And don't forget about Bam Adebayo, somebody that's quickly ascending the ranks of the NBA. Some people think he's already top 10, and if he's not, then I'll tell you right now, he's well on his way. This season, Bam's averaging 21 points, 9 boards on 61% from the field. He's also shooting 67% from the three-point line on a very small sample size. But did I tell you how dominant he was on the defensive side of the basketball? And did I tell you how he dominated the Brooklyn Nets? I don't think I did. Their first matchup, Bam dropped 41. And it felt like it didn't matter who was holding him. Interesting enough, their second matchup, Bam had 26. He was 10 of 19 from the field. Still a great game for Bam, but the Miami Heat lost. And they also lost the first game. The Nets' most recent game versus Miami was their best defensive outing of the season, showing me that they could play defense if they really wanted to. But there's still a problem, and they know that. That problem is that they need more quality bigs. We already have Steve Nash saying he's confident in James Harden's ability to guard big men, and that they're already going to ask Harden to do a lot of that, with the Nets switching defense. Harden's proven to be an elite post defender before, but I always wondered what percentage of that came against elite big men. If I'm Anthony Davis or Joel Embiid, I'm laughing when I hear this news. So with the Nets being in the market for a big man, they have been looking at guys like JaVale McGee. I know it's not a big name, but I think JaVale McGee could make a team like the Brooklyn Nets a lot better. I know a lot of people like to make fun of McGee, and a lot of times he has his moments, but at the end of the day, he's become a very quality NBA player. And what he brings to a team isn't as easily attainable as you think. JaVale McGee is averaging 1 block per game. The last season that he played over 20 minutes per game, he averaged 2.6. That's devastating rim protection. And trust me when I say any team would love to add another rim protector. Those easy baskets are no longer as easy when you have a 7-footer patrolling the paint. Now, I'm not sure how valid this one is, but I also saw that the Brooklyn Nets were interested in Kevin Love. When it comes to Kevin Love, he brings a lot to a team. I think in the playoffs he can lock in defensively, but I'm not sure the Brooklyn Nets necessarily need Kevin Love. I would love to see Kevin Love suit up and play in Brooklyn because there's a role there that he could fit. But at that point, you're probably giving up so much depth to trade for Kevin Love. And I know he has a really big contract, but the Cavs are going to definitely want something back. You're giving up so much depth that I wonder if it would be worth it, because the Nets are already a team that's top heavy. If I'm them, I'm looking to add big time impact role players. Would you guys believe me if I told you they were also looking at Andre Drummond? Reportedly, the Brooklyn Nets are hoping that Andre Drummond gets bought out by the Cleveland Cavaliers. When I saw this, I was like, what are the odds of that happening? And then not too long later, I see that it's a matter of time until Andre Drummond secures a buyout and joins the Brooklyn Nets. Zach Harper of The Athletic wrote that a couple of league sources mentioned that after the Harden trade, it was only a matter of time before Andre Drummond found his way to Brooklyn to help them out on the interior. Andre Drummond has always struck me as somebody that is looking to expand their game, wants an expanding role. I wonder how he would fit in with the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, if he bought in, he rebounded, and he played his game around the basket, he could definitely be a commodity. We've seen in the past, when he locks in on defense, he can be terrifying. He's also a big lob target that can run the floor. Drummond to Brooklyn could be scary, but does it make sense? Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm Get Like Coop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.